Hi guys. Okay, I think my camera is kind of off. Let me. It should be better. All right, guys. So how you doing?
Hello, everybody.
Hello, teacher.
How are you?
Hi there.
How's your day going?
Okay. So okay, guys. So please don't forget to turn your cameras on before we started class. Let me just. All right, guys. So please, your cameras. All right. So okay, so today we're going to be working on the speaking section. So we have actually started this already, but we're going to move on to a different task. So just remember that in the speaking section, and if you guys don't know, you have 4 tasks, right? So there are 4 questions in the section. And well, let me show you this in my slides. So you have 4 tasks in the speaking section. The first one is the independent question, and the other ones are all integrated questions. Remember that independent means that, of course, it doesn't depend on anything, and you don't have to do anything before you answer the question, right? However, integrated is the opposite. So you got to read something or listen to something before you get to answer the question. That's what we're going to be working on today. We're going to start with task number 2. So question 2 for the speaking section, 2 out of 4. Okay, so how's this? How does this work if you're wondering? Now, in this question, you will have to first read something, a short text, something like this, not that long as you can see. You will be given 50 seconds to read the text. And after you do that, then you will listen to a short conversation between 2 people. So when you're listening to the conversation, you're allowed to take some notes. Also, you can take notes when you're reading, but of course, it's not necessary to take notes here because the reading, by the way, is going to stay there. You know, it's not going to disappear. It's not going to go anywhere. That will be there on your screen during all along, so you can actually read again. But I don't think that's necessary. So first you read for 50 seconds, then you listen, you take some notes, and then you will be asked something. So you will get the question, which is always the same question. It's usually kind of basically summarize everything, and then you will be given 30 seconds to prepare your response. And finally, at the end of the day, you'll have 60 seconds to speak. So again, you read for 50 seconds, you listen to a conversation after you read, then you get 30 seconds to prepare and 60 seconds to speak and answer the question in 60 seconds. So is that okay so far? Like the technical structure of it? Any questions about that? Okay, so now let's talk about the content. So what exactly will you be reading or listening to? Let's try to figure that out. So first thing, what will the reading be about? Now here in the reading, you will find a campus announcement. So there's a university, X university, you don't really care about those details. So, you know, what I always say is the TOEFL is kind of not like trying to see how prepared you are for life in college in the US. So that's mainly why people take the TOEFL, you know? So in this task, you will have a lot of college life vocabulary, things like like campus, or I don't know, like words like that, like major, or all that, college related vocabulary. So make sure to check it out as well. So here in this reading, you will see a short campus announcement. So the university, X university, is announcing something, is announcing a change. So there's a change on campus, something's going on. I don't know what that will be. Maybe it's that the cafeteria is changing the menu, or maybe they are awarding a new scholarship, or maybe they are gonna change the structure of the buildings or something. So something's going on, and they're announcing it through this letter or announcement. Now your job here is to first thing find out what the change is, so what's going on, and second, you want to find the reasons for the change. Now in this reading, you will always have two reasons. So they're like, okay, we have decided to change the menu of the cafeteria since we want to cook healthier food and we want to make it cheaper as well. So you always got that structure. You got to changing the menu of the cafeteria, and you got two reasons: make healthier food and make cheaper food. So that's your job. You want to find those three elements here. Okay, and when you read, and then after that, after you read, when you're listening to the conversation, you will listen to two students arguing about the change. They're going to be discussing the change. They're going to be like, hey, have you heard the news? You know what's going on? What do you think about it? And one student will be giving his or her opinion about the change. So they will be like, well, I think that's a great idea, and I think it's going to work, and I love it. Or they could be like, well, I don't think that's really going to work. I don't think they have I don't know, they haven't thought things through, so I don't really like the idea of what they want to do. So, and they will provide other two reasons. So basically you will have a change in the reading and two reasons in favor of the change. And then in the listening, you will have two students discussing the change, and they will provide other two reasons why they are either in favor or against the change, So that's basically it. That's exactly what you're going to be facing always. So this one change, and what you have to do in your response is basically report everything. So you got to think like you're a reporter, and you're like, all right, so the university has decided to do this because of this and that reason. Meanwhile, the student thinks that this is a good idea, or maybe meanwhile, the student doesn't like the idea because of this and that reason. So that's your job, to act like a reporter. And then that's pretty much it. Then you're done with the task. Okay, so that's a bit of how it works. So any questions so far? Is it okay? Okay, now some things I gotta say here. In the reading, what you're gonna be reading will not always be an announcement made by the university itself. So sometimes you will have letters, like student letters. So sometimes it will not be the university announcing something. So sometimes it will be just a student proposing something. So let's create a new slide. So these are your options for the reading. Where are we? Okay, sorry. So in the reading, you got a few options. So the most common one is when you have a university announcement. It is pretty much the university announcing something, right? Like, so we are changing this, or we want to change this. So within that category, you could have a proposal, something like, okay, so we're proposing to make this change. It could be a decision that has already been made in the past, something like, we have decided to do this change. So it could be a decision that has been made already, or it could be a decision that already has been, a change that has already happened. So it could be a past change, so something that they have already done, and they're just like providing the reasons why they've done it. So those are your options. If it's a university announcement, then it could be a proposal, a decision, or a plan. Okay, let's write that down too. So it could be a proposal, it could be a plan, a decision that has been made, or it could be a past change. Now, there's another option as well. Sometimes you will have, as I was saying, a student letter. So it will be just a student proposing something. You know, since it's a student, then you don't really have other options. So it's just a student proposing something. It's a proposal. Like, now you're gonna notice this because the first person is gonna be used. So in the letter, you will know that it's a letter because the student will be like, so I think the university should do this. And I consider this to be a good idea for these reasons. So whenever you see that first person, like I think, or I believe, or I consider, it's a student letter. And another thing that you guys can look at is, you know, the closing of the letter. Sometimes it will have a signature like regards or warm regards, I don't know, ex-student. So that's your way of knowing it's a letter. And there's one more option, which is also a proposal, but it's not a change and two reasons. It's a problem and two solutions. Okay, so it could be a change, one change and two reasons, or it could be a problem, one problem and two solutions. Okay, so those are all the options you got. Could be a university announcement, a student letter, and you could have one change and two reasons, the most common one, or one problem and two solutions. So one problem and two solutions will be something like, so I've noticed that the bus service is not so good. So I'm proposing we do these changes, that we buy more buses and that we eliminate this area maybe. So that's all the types of reading of reading text that you could face or you could find in this task. Okay, so that okay? Any questions? All right then. Now the listening will always be the same thing. Two students discussing the change. The most common conversation type will be where the students are against the change, but that's not always the case. You know, sometimes they're in favor of it. So we'll be practicing with both so that you guys have an idea of how it works. So I think that's kind of it. You know, reading, listening, two reasons in the reading, two reasons in the listening. You just have to find what those are. Now, if you guys want some tips, when you're reading, the first thing you guys always do is you read the title and take some notes. And why? Because that's usually the change. Okay, so just by reading the title, you already know what the change is or what's going on campus. So for instance, here we have music coming to cafeterias. So it'll probably be something about that. Now, second thing you guys can do here to help you out. I mean, the best tip I could give you really for the reading part of it is summarize as much as you can. So when you're reading, and if you're taking some notes, I don't want you guys to focus on the details too much. So you don't care really about if you have some names, you don't care about them, or if you have some numbers or some specific things, some details, you don't care, or some examples, they're never important, okay? In the reading, the best thing you can do is summarize the change and the reasons in like 3 to 4 words, right? No more than that. So we're gonna read this. Okay. So can anybody read this for us? Anybody wants to read? All right, Ian. Yes, thanks so much.
Okay. Music coming to cafeterias. Mary Dixon, director of the Student Life Committee, announced yesterday that beginning next semester, university cafeterias will broadcast classical music during mealtimes. Music will foster a more relaxed atmosphere, said Dixon. Students' lives are hectic, and mealtimes provide important opportunities to take a break and catch up with friends before moving on to the next class or assignment, added Nixon. We are also hoping that if we provide the music, students will unplug their personal music devices their Walkmans and MP3 players or whatever, and will spend more time talking to each other. When students have their headphones on, they are not connecting with each other.
Okay, thank you, Ariel. So what do you guys think about this? First of all, can anybody tell me what the change is? So what are they gonna do?
They are going to play classical music on the cafeteria.
Good, that's it. Yeah, so they're gonna be playing classical music in the cafeterias. So they will. I mean, if we have to choose a phrase, I think. Oh, sorry. I think it'll be this one. So they will broadcast classical music during meal times or play classical music in the cafeterias. Great. All right. Now, what about the reasons for the change? So why are they doing that? I mean, what do they want to achieve? What are their goals? Who can tell me what the first one is? Yes, Ariel?
Their first goal is to achieve a more relaxed atmosphere.
Awesome, good. So yeah, that's it. More relaxed atmosphere. Great. So yeah, that's the first one. And I like that you're summarizing. You're taking like 3 words and that's good. You don't really want to like elaborate so much, or if you're taking notes, like you could just say relax. And so music, cafeterias, relax. All right, what else? What else have we got? What about the second one? What's the second thing they want to do? Or the second reason why they want to do this?
Maybe help the students to talk and connect each other.
Great. So yeah, they want to help students connect with each other. I like that. So yeah, exactly. So that's it. Now, as I was saying, that's the biggest tip I could give you guys here. Make sure that you have this as summarized as possible, because this, I mean, your summary, you're going to summarize this whole thing in your response in just one sentence. So when you're speaking, you're going to summarize this whole reading in just one sentence, and it's going to count as your introduction, as the intro for your response. So that's why it's got to be very brief, and it's got to be short, one sentence, and you don't really want to spend so much time there. You will know why, and you will know what I mean in a minute. So that's pretty much it. That's everything you will have to do when you read. So any questions about this? No questions? Okay, so next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna listen to the conversation. Remember, you will have 2 students discussing the change. Now, what I want you guys to pay attention to, they're gonna be either in favor or against, but that's the easiest part. It's a piece of cake to know what their position is. So what you wanna find and what you wanna pay attention to is how they respond to these arguments. So what does the student, because it's just one student, the one that's against or in favor. So what does the student have to say about this? So what does he or she think about creating a more relaxed atmosphere or connecting with each other? So how they respond to this, that's what you're looking for. Now, regarding the listening, by the way, as I was explaining before, you will have 2 speakers. Now, one student will just be a passive listener. So they will be like, oh yeah, I think you're right. But they will not say that much, But one student, I mean, just one, will have a strong mindset about it, be like, well, I don't agree, or I completely agree, and I think it's a great idea. So it's just one student that you're paying attention to. However, another tip I could give you, when you're listening, listen to both, not just having a strong position or a strong mind. Listen to both, because sometimes the other student will be summarizing things for you and making it clear or easier for you to understand. So just listen to both and also try to summarize it, because 60 seconds to speak is not that much. You will not have that much time to elaborate further. So take some notes, but make sure that they are clear, concise, and about this, you know, don't focus too much on the details. So we're gonna listen now. I'm gonna play it for you guys. Let me just. Okay, these sounds. Okay, so here it goes. Make sure to take some notes. Do you guys have a piece of paper there? Do you all have a piece of paper? If you don't, then go get one. Because I'm gonna play now. All right, so here goes.
Now listen to two students discussing the university's plan.
This article? Are they serious?
Yeah, I think so. Why?
Well, first of all, a lot of kids aren't looking for a relaxing break at lunchtime. They like to study while they eat, especially if they have exams coming up or some assignment they have to get done.
Yeah, that's true.
And now they won't be able to concentrate. This is going to be very distracting.
Okay. Yeah, I see your point.
And second, most students don't like classical music.
It's certainly not what I listen to.
So are people going to stop listening to their own music?
No.
I think people are going to be even more likely to bring their MP3 player, you know, to play their own music and block out the classical stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The man expresses his opinion of the university's plan. State his opinion and explain the reasons he gives for holding that opinion.
Okay, guys. So as you're able to see here on my screen, this is the question. It's always the same question. The man, or in case it's a female, it will be the woman, expresses his opinion about the university's plan or about the student letter, you know, depending on what you have here. So, and the question is, state his opinion or her opinion in case it's a female, and explain the reasons he or she gives for holding that opinion. So this is gonna be your question all the time. Now, if you think about it, they're not asking about the university anywhere. You don't have anything like, you know, summarize the change and the reasons, or summarize the university's proposal. You don't have anything such. So of course, in your response, you're gonna have to talk more about the student and less about the university. But that doesn't mean that you don't have to mention the university at all, and you don't have to give context. So actually, the question used to be another one. Like, this is the new question. I think that I'm not sure when, it was in 2019, I think it was August, but they changed the TOEFL. I mean, some parts of the TOEFL, and this is one thing that changed, the question for this task. So the previous question was this one. Let me show you. All right, so here it is. This used to be the question. It was, the man or woman expresses his opinion about the proposal in the student's letter or in the university's announcement. Now, briefly summarize the proposal, then state the man's opinion about the proposal and explain the reasons he used for holding that opinion. So this is what you need to do actually. So even if the question doesn't specifically ask for it, at the beginning, you're gonna have to summarize the proposal or the announcement, whatever it is that you have there, you're gonna have to summarize, but briefly, you know? So the most important part in your response is gonna be talking about the student. So that's how we're gonna structure your response. Okay, so now, but let's go back to the example. So let's discuss what the task was about. So, so first of all, was the student in favor or against the change?
He was against the change.
Good, he was against. Now, can anybody tell me why? I mean, what was the first reason? What does the student say about this? About creating a more relaxed atmosphere?
He said that most of students aren't looking for a relaxed atmosphere, but they need to concentrate more on their studies and their homework.
Okay, so they want to concentrate and study, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. And what about the second one? Isn't connecting with each other a good plan?
The students wouldn't like the classical music.
Okay, so they wouldn't like it. So what does that mean?
It means that the students are going to bring their MP3 players and listen to their favorite music.
Good. So, and obviously they're not going to achieve the university's goal, right? Because if they want them to connect more with each other, they're going to do the exact opposite. So they're more likely to bring their MP3 players or iPads, whatever they have, and they're going to black out the music, you know, and they're not going to be connecting with each other. They're basically going to stop talking. So that means that the university's goals are not going to be achieved, are they? So that's it. You know, this is how your notes could look like. You don't have to, obviously you don't have to take full notes of full sentences or something. So just some keywords is fine. And that's it. So any questions about the example before we get to the response? All right. So in your response, what you need to do. So remember, I said you will have to have an introduction. You will have to talk more about the student. So that's what we're going to be doing. First thing you need is a short introduction. So you need to give an intro and also provide some context about what's going on. You cannot just start right off with the student and be like, so the student thinks or the student believes. So you got to give me some context. Tell me what's going on. So at the beginning, as fast and as brief as you can, you're going to summarize the whole reading part. So you're going to tell me something like the university plans to broadcast classical music in the cafeterias in order to create a more relaxed atmosphere and help students connect with each other. So that's it. Even if it's a complex one or a compound sentence, it's just one, you know. I'm using connectors like and or because they want a more relaxed atmosphere or since they want a more relaxed atmosphere or in order to, but it's just one sentence. I'm not gonna get past that. So at the beginning for your intro, you need one sentence in which you're gonna explain what the change and the reasons are. Now, you can use something like since, you know, since they wanna create a more relaxed atmosphere and students to connect more. My advice, and here's one tip I'm giving you guys, in the whole speaking, always try to avoid words like because or I think or but or so. So try to use more complex words, you could say, to, you know, to make it look like you have somehow more extensive vocabulary. That's your goal, you know? So instead of saying because, you could say since, or you could say due to the fact that, or for, or as. Try to change them as well. Because you know what? One thing, I mean, if you're wondering how they score your speaking response, so they are basically evaluated by they go through two steps. First thing, you will have an E-rater scoring your speaking, your response. And the E-rater is going to be looking for things like vocabulary. The E-rater is going to basically count all the words that you have and how many different words you have, you know? So if you're repeating so much one word, then that's going to take some points off. The E-rater is also going to be looking for these transitions. So use them as much as you can, you know, like first, in addition, or additionally, or as a result, or however, nevertheless. All those transition words are going to be counted by the E-rater. So make sure to have some. The E-rater is also going to be looking for these reporting verbs, like the student states that, or the student believes that the university plans to. Those reporting verbs are also going to count. So if you're just saying, so he says, and she thinks, and he thinks, that's obviously not so good for your vocabulary, right? So you want to use somehow more complex words. Now, I'm not saying that you're not supposed to sound casual or conversational or natural. Like you can perfectly do that and this at the same time. Remember, this is the speaking, so it's okay to sound like natural. You don't really have to sound that fancy. I think that's kind of a myth. In the writing, though, you can, show off everything but in the speaking, it's okay. Even if you make some grammar mistakes and everything, that's okay. So, okay, but bottom line is don't forget to use your transitions, reporting verbs that we're going to be seeing, and to try to make the word, have a good word choice, use different words. All right, so at the beginning, as I was saying, you need a short introduction in which you summarize the whole thing. You can start with something like the university, or if it's a student, you will say something like the student in the letter, and try to use one of these verbs like plans or proposes or has decided to. Okay, I'm gonna probably write them down here. So proposes or has decided to or plans to. So something like that. So the university plans to broadcast classical music in the cafeterias since they want a more relaxed atmosphere and students to connect. That's it. Now, second thing you need is you need a short, well, not so short transition here. This is really important, guys. So you're gonna say something like, meanwhile, I think this one is really good. I wouldn't change it if I were you, because it's kind of neutral. If the student is in favor, it works. If the student is against it, it works. It's not like, however, when the student needs to be against the change. So you could say something like, meanwhile, the student does not advocate this idea or doesn't agree with the plan or doesn't like the plan or something like that. But you need to use this transition. And that makes a total of 20 seconds at most. If I were you, I would try to do it in 15 or in 16, less than 20 seconds. But 20 is the maximum that you can spend in the introduction past the transition. Okay, remember that. So another thing, I'm gonna be giving you some templates, and it's perfectly fine if you guys want to change some words, like instead of saying first, if you want to say to start, or instead of saying addition, if you would like to say furthermore, it's okay, But the thing is that you gotta keep the structure. So whenever you see a transition, try to use one. No matter which one that is, try to use one. Whenever you see, try to follow the order of the template, and you will be more than fine. Okay, so you have the intro and you have the transition. Now, next thing, this is the most important part of your response. You tell me about the student. So you can say something like, first, the student or he or she states that, and then you tell me the first reason, right? Students are not looking for a relaxed atmosphere. Instead, they want to concentrate and study, Now here you can use 2 sentences maximum. So you can say, he states that they're not looking for a relaxed atmosphere due to the fact that they want to concentrate and study for their exams. And you can say something else like, also, I don't know, their lives are not so hectic. I don't know, whatever. And then you move on to the second reason, like something like, furthermore, I think it's a he in this case, I'm not sure. So he believes that, and then you tell me the second one, right? Something like, students students don't like classical music. As a result, they are more likely to bring their MP3 players. Therefore, they will not be achieving the university's goal due to the fact that they're gonna, I don't know, put their MP3 players on to black out the classical music. So that's it. You got the intro, transition, first reason for the student and second reason for the student. And you can take 20 seconds for each one. So if you add it up, you got 60 seconds, 20 seconds, 20 seconds, and 20 seconds. And those are your 60 seconds of your response. Okay, so that's it. Is that okay? Any questions about this? Okay, so now I would like, anybody wants to do it, wants to try with this example that we have seen, and with the timer on? Can anybody try? Give it a shot. We kind of already said everything, you know? So it's just that you put the words together and come up with a response. So would anybody want to try? No, really? Yes, Ariane.
Okay, I'm gonna try.
Okay. Do you need me to show you the template at the same time? You want me to leave it here?
No, don't worry. I have my
All
notes.
right. So then you can go ahead now.
Okay, the university in the letter plans to implement a classical musical in the mealtime in order to achieve a more relaxed atmosphere and avoid people to use their MP3s and to connect to each other. Meanwhile, the student does not advocate this idea. First, he thinks that the students aren't looking for a relaxed atmosphere. In addition, they don't like classical music, and it's most likely they bring their MP3 players. So the goal of the university wouldn't be achieved. Okay, that's it.
All right. Awesome. So great timing. You know, you had some extra time. That's really good. People usually run out of time here. So good. I think everything was great. That was an awesome first try. What can I say? If you guys have some extra time, then what you can do is a short conclusion. So you could say something like, I don't know. So like that's why the student thinks so. So if you have like 5 seconds left, then you can say something. So that's why he thinks so, or that's why she thinks so. And if you got some more time, then you could restate the position. You know, you could say something. So that's why the student doesn't really love the idea, or that's why the student is in favor of the idea, or something like that. If you got some extra time. The conclusion is never going to be necessary, so don't worry if you don't have time to do one. Another thing I really liked about your response is that you were kind of connecting it back, you know, and that's actually another tip. So whenever you can, try to connect both the reading with the listening. So if you could say something like, in addition, he believes that, I don't know, they don't like classical music. As a result, they're more likely to bring their MP3 players and not connect with each other. And then if you say something like, as the university suggests, or as the university plans, or like the university would want them to. So if you're able to do that connection, or something like, I don't know, like whenever you can try to connect ideas, that's also something that they're really looking for. So that's another thing. Okay, guys, but I think that was really cool. So any questions now? We're gonna do one more example, or probably two if we have time. So yeah, let's do two. Any questions though? All right, so now let's take a look at this example. In this case, the student is gonna be actually in favor of the change. So I want you guys to take a look at it. So this time you are gonna do it on your own. So, all right. So I'm gonna leave you with a reading. You know what you're looking for here. You wanna find the change and the reasons for the change, and that's it. So now I'll give you all 50 seconds to read. So you can start reading now. Okay, now we'll listen to the conversation. So take some notes. Here it is. Here you go.
Now, listen to two students discussing the article.
Jim, you're in the choir, right? What do you think about what they're doing next year? This article.
I really like it.
Yeah?
Yeah, the new director's right that it will motivate us.
How's that?
Well, some of the other schools are really good, so we'll really have to work hard to go up against them.
Yeah.
I mean, right now we don't rehearse more than once a week, but if we know we'd be competing with other schools, we probably rehearse more often and improve our singing a lot.
That's true. The more you practice, the better you get. So, what about what the article said about how this will help the program?
I hope it works. Right now, our program is pretty small, but we have some really talented people, and it would be great to attract even more people.
So, how will this plan help?
Well, if we go to these off-campus events and other people hear us and think we're really good, we might be able to get some new students interested in coming to this university, to be a part of our music program and perform in our choir concerts.
You're right. I hadn't really thought about that.
The man expresses his opinion about the change described in the article. Briefly summarize the change, then state his opinion about the change, and explain the reasons he gives for holding that opinion.
Okay, guys. So now I will give you all 30 seconds to prepare your response. You can just, maybe take a look at your notes, organize your thoughts, and use this time to prepare. So here goes. Okay, guys. So who wants to go first? I think I'm gonna have 3 people do it, and then we can try another one. Another 3 people are gonna do it. So anybody would like to give it a shot? Okay, so maybe we can go with Leandro, you there?
Yes.
Okay, so would you want to try?
Okay.
All right, so you can go ahead now.
Okay. The talk between the students is about their opinion of the man about the thinking of the directors of the choir. And firstly, he says that he agrees with this idea. And why? Because he thinks that the director is in the correct position because of the reasons. The reason that the director says is that this will motivate the students to enter to this program firstly, because he thinks that they have a lot of talent between all the university students, and also in entering to this kind of competitions like university competition between a lot of university, and will grow up the reputation of the university. Also, he thinks that this is a very good idea principally for the students and for the university.
Okay, good. Thank you so much, Leandro. All right, so the main thing I could say to you is try to follow the structure of the template. I know It's not really because I want it to be this way, but this is the, you know, the like the traditional way. And this is really what they're gonna be expecting you to do. So organizing it this way will make your life easier, in other words, basically. So just try to make sure to separate the two reasons that the student give as much as you can. So with transitions and everything, like first, second, or first in addition. If you don't really want to tell me what the reasons for the university are here at the beginning, you can actually do that. And that's another thing that maybe you're going to be seeing tomorrow when you practice. But make sure to at least provide some context and tell me what the change is at the beginning. Something like the university is planning to, I don't know, the choir of the university is planning to enter into new off-campus competitions. And you can skip this, but then again, you will have to mention them here, which is something that I think you did. So I think that's good as well. So you could say something like, okay, first the university wanted this. However, the student says, or in addition, the student says that this will indeed work, or this will for sure work. And then you explain more, you know? But that's just gonna make it more complicated for you because you're just gonna have to connect more ideas. So I think it's better to have it separated and go in this order. Now, all right, I like that you're using reporting verbs, that's good. Regarding, you know, what I was saying, you know, for this is all college related. So look for some words, make sure to check out some vocabulary related to this. And also to learn how to pronounce certain words, you know, like choir, for instance, which is, even if it's not exactly a college related work, yeah, you know, it could count as one. Remember the difference between grow and grow up. So the reputation of a program could grow. And remember, it's mainly, right, not principally. So, but the main thing I would say is just try to follow the structure. So tomorrow when you're practicing, I would try to maybe at the beginning use a template, and then you're gonna see that you're gonna get used to it and you will not need it anymore. Okay. So is that okay, guys? Any questions? I think we have time to do one more. Okay, another thing I wanted to say, when you have, you know, when the student is in favor of the change, you know, they're not really gonna give reasons why they are in favor, but they're gonna explain a bit more. So that's what happens here, right? If the university says, okay, we want, okay, where is it? The university says we want to motivate students, you know, I think it's here. So yeah, competitions will motivate students in the choir to pursue a higher standard. So we want to motivate students. So in your response, you can repeat that. You can say, first he states that this will indeed, and you can use these words like this will indeed, I'm gonna write it, I think I have them here. Something like indeed, or certainly, or for sure, or I don't know, undoubtedly. So words like that. So this will indeed motivate students. And then what you can do is explain how, you know, because that's what the student does, explain how that will work. So how will they motivate students? And then you say by, this will motivate students by, I don't know. And I don't remember how it was. I think it's because they're gonna go off campus and compete with better, you know, better musicians maybe. So just tell me that. Or in addition, she believes that this will certainly strengthen the reputation of the program by allowing other students to see how the music program is on campus or something like that. So make sure to add those words, like reinforcing words. And here you have also some ideas when they are not in favor, like even though they want to create a more relaxed atmosphere, students don't want this, or students want to concentrate, or even if students' lives are hectic, I don't know, they need to focus on their exams. All right, so here you have some ideas on how to connect. All right, any questions now? Let's look at one more. Let's look at this one here. All right, so here goes the reading. All right, so here's the reading, 50 seconds to read. Okay, now let's listen to the conversation.
Now listen to two students discussing the letter.
I totally disagree with Tim's proposal.
Why?
Well, look, Tim's my friend, but he's not your typical student. He stays up late partying every night, weeknights too.
If he parties every night, no wonder he can't pay attention.
Yes, and most students aren't like that. They come to class prepared and rested, and they can concentrate.
So you're saying the problem is really Tim?
Yes, he was in one of my classes last year, and whenever I looked at him, he was actually sleeping.
I guess if he's sleeping, he can't really know what's happening, what other people in class are doing.
Right. And you want to know what does happen in that last hour of seminar? In a lot of seminars that I've been in, that's when things get interesting.
Really?
Yes, that's usually when students get really involved in the discussion and start exchanging important ideas. And if the history department actually did what Tim suggests, well, if they did that, what would happen is you'd lose what might be the most worthwhile part of a seminar.
The woman expresses her opinion about the proposal that her friend Tim made in his letter to the newspaper. State her opinion about his proposal and explain the reasons she gives for her opinion.
Okay, so now you guys have 30 seconds to prepare your response, and then just one person will do it, and we'll be leaving. So. Okay, so any volunteers now? Anyone who would like to try? Okay, what about you, Nico? You there?
I'm here, but I don't listen.
You didn't listen to the conversation?
Sorry?
You didn't listen to the conversation?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Well, that's okay, no worries. Anyhow, you guys are gonna be practicing tomorrow. So you're gonna have your practice session, you know, so you're gonna have some time to make you work. What about Rosario then? Would you wanna go? Do you mind going now?
Yeah, but it's incomplete.
It's okay. Give it a
And
try.
also, teacher, I don't understand. I have to say first the summary.
Yeah, I can
And
help you
then
out. The summary and then the student. Yeah, you know, the student's opinion.
oh, okay. Okay.
So yeah, at the beginning, summarize the reading, like the university wants to, or in this case, it's a student letter. So the student proposes to reduce the blah, blah, blah. Since, and then you give me the first reason and the second reason. And then you say, meanwhile, the student in the conversation doesn't agree. And then you say, first, he states that, and the first reason, or second, she states that. I don't know. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So best of luck. Here you go.
Okay. It's about a story seminar should be shorter. One of the students proposed that it should be just for 2 hours because normally it lasts 3 hours. And he thinks because first of all, most of the students can concentrate 3 hours. And second, he thinks that most of the students stop learning at the 3rd hour. So that's why he proposed to reduce the hours of the seminary. I don't know. I just have that, teacher. ¿Qué pasó?
Creo que se desconectó.
Oh my gosh, sorry for that. I did listen to your response though, Rosario. So I noticed you just had the reading part, and that's okay. You know what happened with the listening? You didn't get to listen to it.
Oh, I thought I had to do it just the summary for that minute and then the listening.
Oh, no. You gotta do the whole thing in just 1 minute. So it's 20 seconds for the
Okay.
reading and then 40 seconds for the listening.
Okay. No, I have the listening part.
Okay, I see. But I think the reading part was good, except that it took some time, you know? So remember, it's just one sentence. So here, I know I said try
Okay.
to use transitions, but in the first sentence, you don't have to use transitions because that's gonna make it more than just one sentence. So if you're like, first, the student believes, or second, it's not gonna work. So just the university or the student proposes this to, because the students don't concentrate and they stop learning or whatever it is that your research
Okay.
teamwork. Okay, guys. So any questions? I gotta run to my other class. So I don't know if you guys have any questions. You're gonna be practicing these tomorrow anyhow. Any questions or comments about the class, the task, or the examples? Feel free to ask. All right then, guys. So please, before you go, I'll start today's survey saying yes or one. So if you could answer that before you leave.
Okay, teacher. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. See you next class.
Thank you very much. See you next class.
Bye.
Thank you, teacher. Good night.
Have a good night. Bye.
Goodbye, teacher.
Bye.